friends, my name is Jen and I love cookies. So I got off to a slow start this morning. It is 1 p.m. and I have gone for a run and stretched, and that's about it. So I'm gonna eat a cookie for breakfast because why not? When you're eating for the first time at 1 p.m., live your best life. So a few weeks ago, I rated a cookie from World's Best Dough, and it was really good, and I have 3 more of them, and I was very excited to eat them. And then shortly after I filmed that review, I saw that they were releasing or doing a drop, as they do every week, of their vegan cookies, and I was just looking at them, and I may have accidentally ended up with a box of another 4 World's Best cookies. But these ones are all vegan. So there's that. Was this necessary? Probably not. Did I do it anyway? Yes, I did. Why? Because I saw one of them was peanut butter and jelly and I had to have it. I have 0 regrets. At least not yet. We'll see how I feel once I eat the cookies. But the 4 that I have in here are vegan peanut butter and jelly, which is the one I mentioned before, vegan lemon cake, vegan apple pie, and vegan banana bread chip. I'm gonna do the banana bread one because that feels the most breakfasty to me, although I am still very much looking forward to the peanut butter and jelly one. It will have its time, and that time is not today. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the banana bread, and we will find out for sure what the chips are. This cookie is so big. It's not consistently tall, but like, let's use the hand scale to show you. This cookie is taller than some cookies have been big around. I'm certain of it. It's also huge that direction, so relative to my hand, it is bigger than my, well, it's about the size of my palm. Bigger depending on how accurate you want to be. You can see some of the chips in here. As I mentioned earlier, they don't look like chocolate. They also don't smell like chocolate. There is a distinct something smell to this that I know what it is, but I'm gonna have to think about it for a minute to tell you what it is. Cloves maybe? One of those spices that I wasn't expecting in banana bread. But anyway, I have talked about it long enough. Let's go ahead and take a bite. I don't even know. I'm gonna go from the fat side, I think. Okay, so there are nuts in here. I'm not 100% certain what type of nut. It looks like probably walnuts, which makes sense. That's what you would put in banana bread generally. It's either walnuts or almonds. Also, it's very moist. So it's like the moistness, I don't think that's a word, and density that you would expect from banana bread, but the hardness, I guess, of a cookie. I need to expand my texture description vocabulary. It's not quite as banana-y as I want it to be. I think the banana might be getting overpowered by whatever these chips are and the spices that they used. It's like I can tell there are definitely bananas in there because of the density and the texture of it. And there is like some familiar, it's in the aftertaste. I get banana in the aftertaste. But the upfront and like most of the time you're chewing it, flavor is way more of the spices than it is of the cookie banana. Whew. Way more of the spices that they've used than it is of like the banana flavor. Yeah, okay. So they were definitely heavy-handed with some sort of spice that I'm not a fan of. I think it's cloves, would be my guess. But it's definitely one of those like warmer spices. It's not ginger. It's not nutmeg. It's not cinnamon. So I think it's cloves. And I think there's way too much of it in here for my personal taste. Okay, so I've been trying to isolate these brown parts to figure out what they are. I think I've decided that they are dates. I think this cookie might be date sweetened. It probably also has a ton of sugar, let's be real. Although it's actually not really overwhelmingly sweet. But I'm pretty sure that these sticky brown pieces are dates. So I have a lot of thoughts about that cookie. In addition to being massive, it was also very dense. So I can tell you, even though it is after 1 p.m. and I ran 3 miles this morning and it's the only thing I've eaten today, I am very full and probably will not need to eat again until dinner. The dates were fairly evenly distributed throughout the cookie. There was like one little edge corner that didn't have a lot in it, and yes, I know circles don't have corners. One little part of the edge that didn't have a lot of dates in there, and when I was eating that part, that actually really allowed the banana flavor to come out more. But for the most part, there were plenty of dates scattered throughout the cookie. That said, if I were going to make the cookie myself, I actually don't think I would use the dates. I don't know that the dates were necessary as an additional sweetener, and I feel like they aren't. I mean, maybe I just grew up eating different banana bread, but I don't feel like they really added anything that I enjoyed. They just kind of like took away from the banana breadiness of the cookie. The other thing that I really didn't like was the heavy-handed spice, which I believe is cloves. It was just like way too much for me. It did get like better and worse throughout the cookie, so I think maybe I adjusted to it over time, so it didn't bother me as much at the end. But at the beginning, that was definitely not good. The other thing is that I noticed it used both walnuts and almonds, and I think I would have preferred they just use walnuts. Walnuts are pretty soft as far as nuts go, and they're easy to bite into, and they add texture to the cookie, but without making it like, oh, I'm gonna like crunch into this, whereas I feel like almonds are quite a bit harder and crunchier. Crunchy is not quite the right word, but we'll go with harder. And so I just don't like the texture as much of the almonds that added to it. That said, I didn't notice a significant flavor difference between the two because there was just like so much cloves and dates going on in the cookie. I'm gonna say there was no strong indication that it was vegan. It was still like gooey and nice on the inside, and just, yeah. It was good. It wasn't great. I would not eat it again, but if somebody were like into cloves and dates, I don't think I would tell somebody not to eat it, but I wouldn't eat it again. So I think what I'm gonna do on this one, I'm gonna go with a 4.9. It feels a little bit harsh to me because it wasn't bad, but it's just like there were enough things working against it that I want to put it lower. That said, though, I'm still really excited to eat the other 3 vegan ones. I don't think it was the veganness of it. I think this just wasn't a good flavor for my preferences and tastes. Also, I'm not going to stand up again, but I'm totally unclear what the chips were supposed to be in that cookie. There weren't really any chips of any sort. So anyway, that was a banana bread chip cookie from World's Best Dough. I gave it a potentially too harsh 4.9, but I'm looking forward to trying the rest of their cookies, which will hopefully be rated higher because I was very encouraged by the first one I had. If you like watching me talk about cookies, please like, comment, and or subscribe below. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day and eat more cookies.